How's it going, everyone? Tech here, and on this episode, we are talking about Crytek releasing some awesome new resources for game developers, a story about my uncle starting the riot, and a free game that looks like it should cost you money. This is episode 5 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it's JaShinYa here with another episode of the Indie Game Riot. Tekido,
Yes.
you are a good guy, so I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you, how are you doing?
I have a funny story to share with you guys.
No one cares. Next.
It'll be. Now this one's going in. Now I know we make a lot of sex jokes on the show, and this one's really gonna get me. We can maybe pre and post. Anyway, so the other day I was hanging out, and I was in the living room. My grandmother was over doing something. My girlfriend was drawing.
Hold on.
Is that euphemistic?
Yeah, I was gonna wait
it's
1
not,
second. You don't
Okay.
you don't start off a sex joke or a sex story with my grandma was doing something in the corner.
It's just when I say what happened, you guys are gonna be like, oh my god. So I'm just standing there, and my jaw dislocates.
Like,
Okay.
it just
For the
falls
second
out of your skull.
I dislocated my jaw for the second time.
Uh-huh.
And the first time it happened, it wasn't painful when it happened, but it was very painful for about a month afterwards. And now that I'm talking about it, it's starting to hurt. It really sucks. I felt a sneeze coming on, and all of a sudden I just sneeze, and bam, my jaw dislocates.
What the?
And,
Okay.
and I know the process of getting it back in, so I relocate my jaw, and yeah. That's a story that you don't hear every day.
Either you
I
have.
sneezed so hard it dislocated my jaw.
I was gonna say either you have ridiculous sneezes or
I mean, it's the
or
second
you have a
time
glass
it
jaw. Like,
happened. Well, I
I
mean,
hate to see you get punched.
no, that's the thing. Like, you don't really. My sneezes though do hurt really bad. I was in the car once and I sneezed and I threw out my back.
You're like the big bad wolf of allergies.
That was
God, when you're old, you're gonna that's gonna be the death of you.
gonna be how I was just like, chew.
Your body's just gonna snap in half.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna like die of a heart attack right there. Induce
Holy
a coma
crap.
via sneeze. I'll be in one of those like wards where they can't have any dust. I'll live in a bubble for the last 20 years of my life. Hopefully not. But yeah, I just like, and I post. The best part is I post it. I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I dislocated my jaw the other day. They're like, how? Did you get into a fight? I'm like, sure.
Yes.
Yes, that's what
I
happened.
got mugged and I had to save a woman.
I was thinking about making this a really cool story. It's like, oh yeah, I was walking my dog, and this we have pit bulls down the street, and one of them attacked me, and I had to like stab it in the neck, and it like knocked me, and but no.
No, I like the anti-stories.
Yeah.
I really.
Now you can't ever live it down, so there's that.
Oh, I know, but it's life.
Well, how about you, Rev? Has your how have your speaking of messed up body parts? How's your knee actually?
My knee is not too bad. It's almost at about 85% of capability. And I did some light sparring over the last weekend. I'm talking like really, really light sparring. And outside of that, like I've been playing video games on console, and I can't talk about any of them because they're not indie enough. But I did want to
dare commit sacrilege.
Yeah, we don't talk about AAA games on this podcast.
Yeah, it's a couple of games that have been in my queue for a long time, and one of them happens to be the only game on the PS3 that I actually cared to play. And I finished it in about 10 hours, so I was kind of disappointed by it. But anyway,
what game is that?
God of War 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, never played them.
So
You're
I
fired.
did, however, Josh, I did like the implication. Tech is a good guy, so you're going to ask him how his week has been.
Yeah,
Whereas
That
reference
implies
to
that I'm
bad
not.
that's what you're a heathen. You just said a AAA game on this show. You know, I think we've all done it like 10 times by now.
Preemptive punishment.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh? What have you been up to?
Nothing much actually. I've been speaking of sneezing actually. I don't know. Do you guys have allergies?
Kinda.
Yes.
Holy crap! Like the pollen this year is ridiculous.
I'd
maybe
take the
for
cold
you.
over the pollen this year.
And I apologize ahead of time. I think I'm fine right now because I mean the windows are closed and I've been inside for a while. But like as soon as I step outside, it's like my nose just like melts off my face.
Claritin D.
Not a sponsor.
No,
Yeah, Josh, you need the D.
No,
You
I
definitely need the D.
I get
Yeah.
no. It's hay fever. It's hay fever. And when I was younger, I used to like break out in hives. But now it's just mostly like itching and watering and sneezing and stuff like that. Like, but it's like where my throat meets my nose and like inside my ears,
God.
it's like itching and burning from it, like in my sinus cavity.
Yeah, Claritin or Allegra, and my wife is not sponsoring, but is forcing me on Mucinex.
Actually,
Claritin
Claritin
is the best thing in the world.
Claritin
Oh, it
is
tastes
what
so
I
bad.
usually take.
Oh my god, it's the worst. Like,
You have to mix it with vodka in order to like get anything decent tasting out of it.
Well,
You-
when they
no.
say Mucinex, they're saying that it's made out of mucus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure they
It's-
just syringe it right out of the cow.
it's so much worse than that. It's so much. It like
Just get a-
it's the most.
It's just a giant turkey
disgusting-
baster, and they suck it out and the
I don't
everyone
know what it
listening
is.
is just gagging now.
Yeah, exactly. Like for those of you who know about like mucus reducers and how they are literally the worst tasting, worst smelling pills ever created by a human, leave a comment down below. Tell us the story.
And lastly, I feel like, you know, as long as we are getting messages and stuff like that, it's not really a segment, but maybe it will be in the future once we get like a whole bunch of them. But I just
All
again,
stars of
to-
Indie Game Riot.
yeah, just to say thanks to the people who are sending us messages, and most recently, why do I never have this stuff open?
Yeah, man, come on. It's even in
It's
the,
the way-
same in the chat.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
a link to it, I think.
No, yeah, most recently we had someone on YouTube give us a comment, and it was really nice. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel like we're doing something good here. So thank you, Anthony P. Says, I'm officially addicted to this podcast. The production quality put into this goes a really long way, and every recommendation so far has been a great discovery. Loving this stuff, so keep it up. So thank you for that encouraging comment, Anthony.
And we don't
Yeah.
know him. We
No.
have no idea who he is.
No, this is not. We're not. It's
This
not
is
like.
not
It's not like. Yeah, it's not like my mom. You're like, oh yeah, I love your podcast on. What is it? Horse and shit. I don't know.
YouTube, what's that site?
I don't know why my mother sounds like a 90-year-old woman, but anyway.
Too. Oh wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Thanks to Anthony. That helps us a lot. Like keeps our energy going. If
Yeah.
as it.
We love messages that, you know, even if it's not to give us like, you know, kudos or anything like that, just suggestions, anything like that, send them to us, and we'll give you all the links at the end of the show. But there are definitely ways to contact us. With that said, I think it is time to move on to our very first segment of the show, Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
All right, everyone, for our first segment of Indie News Injection. Did you like that? Did you like that?
I like
Yeah.
how everything's broken up into segments of segments.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sub-segments of segments. The creators of a little game called Journey have raised $7 million in donations and investments into the company to make a new game. Now, the information on the new game isn't very prevalent. There's not a whole lot about what the game is. All we know is that they're making a new one. And for those of you who don't know, that game company made a game called Journey for the PlayStation 3. And it was a game where you and somebody else were traveling through this world. And the only communication you had was a little ding. And my experience with this game their old game, was that it really broke down human communication to a point where you didn't know whether the person on the other side was a total like dick or if they really needed help. And it gets to the point where, you know, you're going ahead, you're doing all these things, and you just hear ding, 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 because the other guy is failing, and you realize, well, not only that, but you really get this feeling of like camaraderie where all you have to communicate are these dings.
Instead of the Call of Duty, like,
yeah, it's just like
your mother, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
What I think is really interesting is actually with Journey, you know, in comparison to this new game, is that with Journey they raised $5.5 million in 2012 when they came out with it, and they actually, all that money did go into the game, and they actually apparently went bankrupt at one point.
Yeah.
And but eventually, you know, because Journey was such a great success, they were able to get all that profit back and some. And so they were able to, you know, getting the $7 million for this, they've got themselves on solid ground now, and they can thankfully for them, you know, live comfortably while doing this.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, unless they're just really bad at, you know, handling their money, but I don't think so. Especially this time, since they have like you said, there's an investment with a company called Capital Today, that they have a partnership with, and the other thing that I think is cool too, I wonder what this game is, because apparently it says ambitious new game. I don't know what that means.
It also says it's an emotionally engaging experience centered around human connections for players of all ages and backgrounds.
For this new game, or talking about Journey?
Because they just described Journey.
Yeah, that's Journey.
No. Since finishing Journey, the team has been hard at work to make an emotionally... So they finished Journey, and now they're making an emotionally engaging experience centered around... Jesus, do you guys not know grammar?
No, I'm just clarifying for the audience.
Yeah.
Okay. No. It is a description of the game that they have been working on since they completed Journey. And having played Journey, I enjoyed it. I didn't play their older stuff, Flow or Flower. Although I just pulled up Flow, and it looks like something that I'm going to want to try.
It's actually Flow. Oh, according to this.
Okay. But I'd be interested in giving it a try. Apparently, they have a web browser game, and they also released it on the PS3. So I want to go back and try that out, just to see like if there's similarities in the development between that and Journey, and then kind of be able to build an experience, an idea of the experience for their new game.
And
one thing that
go ahead.
One thing that I'm really looking forward to is, and one thing that I can really like get behind, are companies that really put their all into creating something. And this might be a little bit far-fetched, but any company, any individuals who are working together to create something, that are putting their livelihood on the line to get something done for the right reasons, have my backing. Because I've talked with the director of Blair Witch Project, Ed Vasquez, because he's a local around where I live, and he visits my college occasionally. When they were doing Blair Witch Project, they all were getting all their food from Costco in bulk when they could afford it. Every month they had to choose which utility to shut off. All right, so we need water, and we need electricity, so, you know, we're gonna not do heat this month, or we're gonna, you know, shut off this month, or I'll eat nothing for a week so we can fund this. And they were just like going between everybody's credit cards just to get this done. Yeah. And it's a really big gamble when a company does this, because if they're doing this, they really believe, but they have to really believe in the product. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that anyone who's willing to sacrifice that much for a product that they're giving to other people is, for all intents and purposes, company that I can get behind.
And actually, it's not just them too. Like they even talked about like usually when you think of investors, you're talking about like venture capitalism and stuff like that. And they're saying that they're specifically partnered with investors who think like them, and their quote, "I have to give our investors a lot of credit for seeing the landscape differently and believing in our vision for interactive entertainment." So they're not just looking like AAA publishers do. They're not just looking for the next
Titanfall.
Whatever Titanfall, whatever AAA game you can think of.
Yeah,
they want something original, and that's nice to see out of that kind of part of the business. And one other thing that's really good about this too. Not that there's anything wrong with PlayStation, but they're not partnered with PlayStation, which means that they're not. They don't have to be exclusively tied to it, meaning it'll be released on all platforms.
Most likely.
Yeah. Anything else you have to add there, Tech?
No. I mean, not really. I mean, there isn't there isn't a whole lot of information.
Speak your words
on the game. No, I'm gonna actually do the rest of the episode in sign language.
Okay.
So I'll just be in the corner there. I can't even speak sign language, so this is gonna be really hard.
It's gonna have to be like Morse code.
Exactly.
Just start hand boning. There you go.
I'll just like tap my mic stand, just piss everyone off.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that time will tell about the production, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can get done.
And speaking of the devs starting off
and what they can get done.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I'm just going to mention it in passing, and then we're going to move right along. If you're making games and you're interested in testing out RPG Maker, it's on Humble Bundle for a week right now. So go check that out. You'll find your details. But the real reason we're talking is there's been a change that Crytek has made to the CryEngine and is releasing it directly to developers via Steam for a monthly subscription. So if you think, as Tech reminded me before the show, the Adobe Creative Suite for like $19.95 a month. And
it's 50.
Oh, it's 50 now?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's always been 50. It's $20 for students, though.
It's ridiculous.
How did I get it?
Just go with Sony Vegas, people.
Just brought you Domino's
or Final Cut.
Guys, just understand, iMovie, best editing software. I can tell you, no. Anyway.
So this one is actually going to be available on Steam for $9.99 US or Euro, which means you Europeans kind of get screwed a little bit. But it will be available. They've made some changes to their license agreement. It doesn't appear to be a forever type deal. There's a little bit of confusion amongst us as to whether or not it follows through release or if it's just for development. But they're getting rid of what was the old one that they had? I can't remember its name. The SDK.
I think it has to be, personally, I think it has to be only through development because, I mean, something that's being, because they're releasing it via Steam.
Well, they're releasing it via Steam, but they're also saying that, you have, as long as you provide their documentation, their, the CryEngine and Crytek powered by endorsements that happen in your credit type deal. According to their...
Wait, sorry, I was reading the article. I don't mean to interrupt you, but actually to clarify the fact that if it's going to take it from the full game, it's because it also talks about Unreal Engine 4, which is by Epic Games, and that charges $19 a month. And then they also make it a point that says that Unreal Engine also takes, they're saying it as in the fact that it's not as good as Crytek, the CryEngine, because it also takes 5% revenue off of the final project.
And just because we're talking numbers, unless my math is wrong, the markup on Euro is 26%.
Yeah.
So you're not getting gouged. It's $13.50 US for Euro.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I like how you did the math on that in the background.
Yeah, I was just gonna let you guys talk.
Okay, so you mentioned it takes 5% revenue off the top, but the SDK was 20%. when Crytek was allowing people access to the SDK, it's actually in their frequently asked questions, and it's basically, you no longer get updates on it, and we no longer take the 20% royalty share that we used to.
I wonder if that's one reason why a lot of free-to-play games, like free-to-play pay-to-win games, run CryEngine.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, MechWarrior Online does. A few others do, I think.
I thought a lot of stuff was on Unreal, actually. I don't know.
A lot of it is Unreal, though. That is true.
Yeah.
Because I think, what's the other free-to-play shooter that I'm trying to think of? Blacklight Retribution runs on Unreal, I believe. So, I mean, it's...
Well, anyway, getting back to the point, though, the fact that this is now available, like, it's a lot more available for people who are, just starting in the indie game community or have made, like, smaller games now. And, like, a lot of people who've been using Unity, for instance... Now they have like a much more powerful engine available to them that they can use.
And I don't know anything about game developing, but I mean, that sounds good.
And having a built engine, yeah.
If you don't know what it looks like, go look it up. I mean, they made the games Crysis 2, Crysis 3, which the games themselves suck, but they look fantastic. They run. You have to have a powerful computer. Because of the capability.
But at the same time, that's also dependent on how you implement it.
True.
I mean,
and optimize.
True.
Like the Unreal Engine that everybody was all gaga about. Like, I've played side-scroller games that looked like ass on that. So I mean, it's
yeah.
There are
garbage in, garbage out type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's now available out there for any of you developers that are interested in taking a look at CryEngine. There's also along that same line, everybody knows WordPress for how awesomely simple it is, plebs. And there is now somebody who is aiming to be the WordPress of HTML5 engines, and that is Kiwi.js. It's an open source, so I get support for it. Mobile first HTML engine that launched on the 29th of May. And it supports WebGL, Canvas, CocoonJS, and it was made by a New Zealand team and is out there for the world. They want to be WordPress. It has plugins, game templates, documentation, all that fun stuff. It's currently open sourced under the MIT license, if you're familiar with that. But it does have people that are using it commercially, so you can check that out in the show notes if you like.
So if you know what any of that means, you might want to check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, we're mostly reporting on it just because we, indie devs out there to create new indie games for us to review.
Yeah.
So,
and I had never heard of this until whoever dug this up found it. So I think I don't know if people know about this.
No?
It has on this particular article, it has 9 Facebook likes.
Yeah.
So I think it's super popular out there. Everyone knows about this.
Well, on the opposite end of things, from like these advanced engines and things like that, you guys know about Papers, Please?
Great game.
Yep.
Lucas Pope, the creator of Papers, Please, is he's creating a new game called Return of the Obra Dinn. There's not like any gameplay or trailers out for it. There's not very many details out about it.
He's basically just announced that he's making it.
There's just the title screen. That's about it. But basically, it's a tribute to old school Mac gaming. If you guys remember, it's very
oh my god,
it's very pixelated and it's like a lot of those adventure games that you would play on those really old Mac computers. Mm-hmm. And it looks, first of all, if you know Paper Please was awesome. And it's just like when you look at it, you're like, what the hell is this? Because you're not used to like games looking like 2D pixelated. There's not a whole lot going on. Right. But he makes it challenging and interesting and has a story. And I can only imagine that this is going to be the same way.
So he's building it in Unity. Mm-hmm. He's doing it 1-bit rendering. and he's doing a devlog.
It's being developed. I just thought that was funny. He's doing one bit graphics in Unity 3D.
Yeah. So it's probably like either really hard or really easy.
Yeah.
Well, he says he says it's a first person mystery game.
Really?
Yeah, it's
3D first person. If you check out, we'll have a link to the announcement that he actually made, and not necessarily just somebody announcing that he announced it. He actually has an animated GIF of the title page of the game that I really kind of like.
If you in talking about the game though, do you guys know there's like a famous maritime like urban legend, but there was a famous merchant ship that was considered a ghost ship because they came across it. It was completely empty, but nothing looked like, there wasn't like a fight or anything like that. Yep. There were no people, but everything was in its place, except for like 3 missing alcohol barrels or something like that. And for the longest time, people were like, "Oh my God, it's a ghost ship." They just vanished, and it kind of led into the whole Bermuda Triangle thing, et cetera, et cetera.
The Mary Celeste.
Yeah, there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this is based off of. Which, by the way, that was disproven. That the 3 alcohol barrels, there was like some weird chemical reaction where there was like an invisible explosion, and it freaked. What they think happened is that it freaked people out, and they just abandoned ship in a lifeboat and ended up dying out in the ocean because they were too afraid to go back to the ship. But anyway, stupid pirates or merchants aside, I think that's what this game is kind of referencing, and basically it's the story is coming from the perspective of an insurance adjuster for the East India Trading Company, who has to go on board the ship and try and figure out what happened to it. And it's really interesting that he's choosing such a small setting, like such a small stage for this game. But he's saying that he's going to make it, fill an entire game.
Is it really all that small in comparison to Papers, Please? I mean, you had a shack.
True.
Papers, Please.
Well, but Papers, Please did sort of expand on like, oh, you have a family and there's a big government watching you. So
this
I
is
think
kind of
that
the same thing.
If anybody has the ability to make a ship into something that feels like an entire world, I mean, this is the guy to do it.
Yeah.
And I will say that I am like, this game is putting 2 things together that I like. Brain crack, guys. You guys know, okay. So, the first video game I ever played was the Manhole game by Cyan on a Macintosh.
The Manhole game.
I think you just made that game.
No, it is called the Manhole game. I have it on Steam now. It was part of a bundle of Cyan games. It's not the same because it's not just it doesn't look quite the same as it did.
Because it was like re-rendered or something?
It was kind of. It had color and everything and, whatever. But it's like that plus like old school ships and like sails and pirates and East India Trading Company. It's just like, oh, I really want to play this game.
It's well timed too. I'm currently playing AC4.
And just because it's him though is why I want it.
Oh yeah. Well,
because it's Lucas Pope. But anyway, any other questions about Obor Dinn?
I'm just really excited.
Honestly, I that whole manhole thing, I'm pretty sure that's just something that Tech's uncle told him.
No, okay. I'm going to my Steam library. I'm going to.
No, I know he was trying to transition, but before we transition,
gotcha. I'm dumb.
Before we transition, just a PS to everyone. On the previous episode or the episode before that, anyway. Among the Sleep we talked about. Remember that game?
Yes.
2 episodes ago, I think it was. Among the Sleep with the little toddler as the main character has now been fully released.
Ooh,
yes,
yay.
And I'm very excited for it. It's on Steam as of today, recording May 30th. So by the time it comes out, it's going to be a few days. But it is now fully released. So go buy it.
That's cool.
Well, anyway, we know that is now that Among the Sleep is now starting the ride. So I think we should move on to this week's Starting the Ride. What do you think?
I'm okay with this.
Starting a riot. Do it.
This week on Starting the Riot, we have a game called A Story About My Uncle. Now, A Story About My Uncle is a game developed by the minds behind Sanctum and Goat Simulator.
What's their name?
They are Coffee Stain Studios?
Yeah, Studios.
Coffee Stain Studios. And they make very good-looking games.
Except for Goat Simulator.
Goat Simulator was an exception.
It was crap.
But A Story About My Uncle, one, looks beautiful. It's a first-person platforming adventure game.
I think you got your devs wrong.
No, it's Coffee Stain.
No, it's Gone North Games.
What?
I'm looking at their website.
It's Coffee Stain Studios, damn it.
Is it?
Gone North Games.
Okay, you're right. Oh, no, you're right. Actually, Coffee Stain Studios is the publisher.
Oh.
Sorry, no, we're getting confused.
Okay.
Gone North Games is the developer. Coffee Stain Studios being the more recognizable.
I am sorry. Well, I mean, Coffee Stain can really get behind good graphics because Gone North has great graphics in this game. It's a first-person platforming adventure game, with movement being the focus of the gameplay, like moving through everything. Sort of, I'm getting a Mirror's Edge sort of feel. So if you like Mirror's Edge, you might like this game.
It's like a Mirror's Edge Bionic Commando.
It's a little bit. It's like I think maybe a little bit Mirror's Edge and a little bit of Just Cause.
Yeah, I can definitely.
And the only reason I say Just Cause is because of the swinging on the grapple hook thing that comes out of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
kind of. What's that game? BioShock Infinite-ish, maybe.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't really compare it anyway. It's a game unto itself.
It's very. It looks really cool, and the storytelling element of the game also just like I feel like I haven't played this game yet. You can buy it now on Steam, but
it just came out.
It did just come out
on the 28th. So,
but it looks pretty cool.
Well, you mentioned that the narrator.
Nope, different game.
Nope.
Oh, you're thinking of
that's later in the show.
Oh, you're right. That's Sumo Boy. Never mind. Okay, you're right. Story About My Uncle. What really drew it to me is that it's like a first-person platforming with a really deep story to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really see too many of those types of games out there. And the grappling hook is, like you said, it's kind of like Mirror's Edge, where it gives you that feel of speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably I'm not a huge fan of platforming games simply because I suck at them. But I think this game has the ability to make you feel like a badass as you're swinging, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can just...
Right, exactly.
I don't know, if you played, for instance, Batman, like, that whole mechanic where you can, like, grapple and then glide, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because eventually you have rocket boots or something like that you can get, and it kind of gives you an extra boost towards, like, something else if you need extra air. And you just kind of, like, you're just, like, flying around, swinging off of stuff. You land gracefully, you know, that sort of stuff. I think that's what really... turns me on to wanting to play it in the first place.
And here's one of the key things that I like about this is that this game serves as a good counterpoint to Desert Bus, because
bring it back.
By the way, I watched some gameplay of Desert Bus. I wanted to smack the hell out of you. What are you talking about? It's not a good game, and I know what you're gonna say. It's not supposed to be a good game.
No,
I don't
it was
care.
Supposed to be a non-controversial and non-violent game. And in order to make it a game with interactivity, they actually added like a 12% drift every randomized so many minutes. And it is a true-to-life time drive from someplace in bum California out to the middle of the Vegas desert. And then you turn around and go back. That's it.
And you get 1 point.
If I actually had... I don't know. That was...
This game, here was my thought process on this, okay? This game is also non-violent. You're doing puzzle solving, you're doing platforming, you're getting the story. You're not killing things. You're not running around with a machine gun murdering people.
Well, you're not murdering, but you do have to make your way through enemies.
But do you have to kill them?
Well, I don't know. I haven't played. We haven't played the game yet, so
You can probably figure a way around it.
I don't know.
It's billed as being non-violent. It is driven by non-violent gameplay. It's one of their key. Like, I'm watching the videos that I've seen of it. I don't see any violence. I don't see them jumping on a Goomba, or I don't see them throwing boxes into drag. Like, yeah, there are monsters there, but it seems to be more about outwitting them using the environment than. Yeah.
Also, the NPCs in this game look like a Smurf and something from Avatar had like illegitimate babies.
This kind of reminds me a little bit about Knit Stories, a little bit, in terms of like atmospheric sort of feel. You don't really know exactly what's going on. But I'll be honest, I don't know what it is. I don't like first-person platforming.
I just realized where you got the non-violent thing from. It's actually on Steam.
It's
on their website.
In their description. Yeah. But like, I didn't really like Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge is just hard.
That's true.
I don't think this is going to be like that.
Everything to a different button, like every limb to a different. Yeah. But I enjoy the first-person platforming. I enjoyed Mirror's Edge. That was an independent team in EA. One of my buddies actually was working on that team, and like he was more disappointed that they weren't going to make a second one.
They are.
This,
though,
That's because it didn't sell very well.
Exactly.
I thought they were.
They're talking about it.
No.
Like they were kind of talking about it. I don't know if. Anyways, that's AAA stuff, and I don't care. But this part of tech, to answer your question, a lot of people have a hard time with first person because the viewpoint is not true first person. It's a simulated first person, and that throws off your sense of spatial awareness. I
get what you're saying. Like you don't have the periffs. I'll just say that. You don't have the periffs like you do normally in real life, and then you just kind of have this.
Not only to the side, but vertically as well.
You kind of have like a sixth sense of the space that you take up. You know what I mean? And just better minute control over your body parts.
And as a counterpoint to actually what I was saying about you not liking first-person platforming, platforming in Minecraft seems to work well.
No, it doesn't.
It can. Well, you have more of an idea of where you are.
I don't know how many times I just wanted to rip my dick off when I had to platform across lava.
It felt more natural to me than Mirror's Edge, but like
natural Minecraft.
I just I don't know words. I'm trying to get words. I think that I'd have to try it. And if I liked the gameplay mechanic, I think that it would be one hell of a game. But I'm just really skeptical about that part.
They actually have a gameplay trailer. I've been kind of scanning through it as we've been talking.
It's really epic, actually. That trailer.
Mm-hmm. It looks really cool.
Try it.
It seems a lot more floaty in a good way.
Well, they did mention that once you get the hang of the gravity and stuff like that, you'd have an easier time of it. But I liked Halo too, so I like the kind of floaty nonsense.
Yeah.
Like the speed looks really good. The graphics look fantastic. I'm envious that you guys will have the ability to play this.
Well, it'll be any month now before you can get something.
Yeah. Knock on wood. Yeah. Knock on wood.
So, but Tekido's face is floatable. And I think any last words?
I'm stoked for this. It looks amazing.
Try not to sound too excited.
Yeah, really.
I know. I am actually. I put this in the notes. You guys are like, I don't know about this. I put this in the notes. I think it looks fantastic, and I really want to play it. That's why I put it in there. So if any of you out there listening want to trust judgment, trust mine.
Yeah.
Hey, you convinced me.
You were like, I want to play it. Like you're just like fake.
No, I was drinking my beer at the time. Come on.
Oh, beer was in the equation. You can't be trusted.
Talk around a beer bottle in your mouth.
Well, fine. We'll talk about something that we all like then, because I know you guys already gave your opinions on the next game. So we'll move on to Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
I'm going to start off the Peep Show segment by saying last week instead of this week. Anyways, Sumo Boy. It is on Kickstarter. For those of you that don't know what that is, and that's why we're talking about it, it is by Tapper, T-A-P-R-R, a Australian game company. They're looking for $100,000 to make this game. And why do we give a Because A, it's an awesome game. Right, just the design behind it, what little bit there is that they've shown looks really catching. It is a small team. It's a 13-man team, and it is an anti-bullying inspired video game. Now, it talks about OG, I don't know, a chubby orphan who is subjected to nonstop bullying in the orphanage where he lives. Then he discovers, super magic spirit powers, he discovers sumo powers to rescue his mother, who is a spirit princess who needs his help. And he goes through this. Apparently, he's a very sweet kid. Not saying that all bully victims are sweet kids, because some of them are horrible.
Well, a lot of the crap trickles down.
I was a little heel as a kid, and I was bullied, so I can't say that I'm anything special there. But they've really worked to not make him the stereotypical hero of a video game. And they're also working really hard not to make it just a PSA. Bullying is bad. They're trying to make it into a fun game that also talks about social justice and how bullying,
and overcoming that adversity.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Overcoming that adversity.
And Rev, let me just say this. As you were saying that, I had the Kickstarter video in the background as you're saying this, and it's just so epic. Like...
Yeah, no, it
guys...
is. The music is cool too.
God.
This game is, it looks like it's going to be Windows, Mac, Linux, PS4, Android, and Steam. I don't know how else you could do it outside of those three, but I'm stoked that they're doing multi-platform across it. It is... it takes a lot from Japanese mythology. And kind of all pulls it all together. Like, they've done some animations of the sumo stomp used to stun your guys and move them away from you, and it looks, it's got a cartoony feel about it. It kind of has the graphical look of almost a MOBA. Like League of Legends or something along those lines.
I'm getting a lot of Bastion from it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And actually, it does come from AAA, or not AAA, but it comes from devs who have worked with AAA companies before, so they know what they're doing. This is one of those games that have a lot of experience behind it, so it's not something that you have to worry about, just falling through, as long as they get their goal. And yeah. I think compared to most games, 100, especially for something this nice, 100,000 isn't that much. At the time of this recording, and this is an Australian dollar, so I don't know what that means, but
it's the same.
They're at $6,152, and they have 26 days to go. By the time this show comes out, they're gonna have 23 days, so plenty of time to get them there. Spread the word around. Donate if you can, even if it's just $1. Or anything like that. And of course you always get the rewards from Kickstarter as well.
Mm-hmm. Their backing rewards are not bad. Get a copy of the game, get a digital copy of the soundtrack, as get all of that plus another game, stuff like that. Get a 11-page comic book that they made that starts at the beginning of his story. I
think,
and then they've got realistic stretch goals too.
Yeah.
At $150,000, they're talking about doing a complete character and lore codex with art. They're going to do, if they make 200,000, cinematic cutscenes for the entire game. 250, it'll be all fully voice acted. If they get 300,000, they're going to do text and voice localization, and 400,000, they're going to go for full console support. So
I do see where you're getting that Bastion feel from. I'm looking at some of these.
Yeah,
it's motion JPEGs or whatever they are.
I mean, graphically, not so much, but definitely like in terms of like the environment.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. and I will say that if you get my favorite spoken word poet to do a video for your game, I will throw money at you. Because Shane Koiskin, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Shane Koiskin is a Canadian spoken word poet, and there are not many things, ladies and gentlemen, listening to this podcast, that will make the burly bearded Viking man talking to you currently
burst into the tears, weeping.
Burst into like tears,
like snot in your beard.
my! You like I'll link you guys to some of the stuff afterwards.
Link me to an audio clip of you just sobbing. That's like, delicious tears.
It's like, I mean, and he has a really big thing about bullying because, you know, he was bullied, and he's worked a lot with a lot of there was a Canadian school that reached out to him because they had 6 students commit suicide in the same week. And so he reached out to them. He's been on TED. He's done a lot of stuff. And it's just like, it's such a good, non-preachy thing to get behind that will also be like a super fun experience to play. Probably. I mean,
it looks like it'll be fun.
It looks super fun. And, they're so far from their goal, but I'm like,
how much have you donated already? Just out of curiosity.
Not a lot, but I have thrown money at it.
I saw a picture of your poet. I know who you're talking about. I've seen other of his videos. I agree. Yes.
Yeah, he's amazing. And it's like, it's weird because it's like this is
going to be
cool.
throughout the whole game. He's not just like not just the monologue in the beginning.
Exactly.
He's similar to the guy who narrated. Speaking of Bastion. Not similar to the voice, but like similar to that he's telling the story throughout the game.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, that guy in Bastion's also really good. But it's similar to, like, you're going to be hearing him the whole time. So if you love the guy, then obviously this is going to be a cool game just because of that. Also, I think it's pronounced Taper. That's just my guess. Taper.
Oh, that would make sense because they're Australian.
Yeah, I think it's Taper. Not Tapper. Jeez.
There's
Tapper sounds like it have 2 P's.
Tapper like reminds me, it's like a mobile game company, you know.
I was gonna think like a brewery, but okay.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so they've got an award-winning composer, Jeff Broadbent, who's doing the piano work for the soundtrack. You might recognize him from doing things like PlanetSide 2. Transformers Dark of the Moon, Am Alive.
Do you need to change your pants, stack it up?
I have like so many hours. I like PlanetSide 2 is the game that I like have days scheduled of my life that I play. So
they've got sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say speaking of the art too, actually, the Sumo Boy reminds me a lot of the kid from Up.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. He like the little chubby Asian boy. That's what he reminds me of. Actually, looking at it closer.
Actually, they have one of the tabs. The overview tab looks exactly like the kid from Up. I mean, different hair, but you know the binoculars and the coat and the backpack. I mean,
oh yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Any other?
That's check them out. The team behind it is fairly solid. It looks like they've got quite a background amongst themselves, and coming together. The artwork looks fantastic. We'll have a link directly to the Kickstarter in the show notes for you guys.
Yeah.
I am not going to be able to do anything this pay period, but in about 2 weeks, I am definitely going to throw in for this one.
Oh, yeah.
And just remember, because it is on Starting the Riot, we think that you should definitely check these out. Or Peep Show. Shoot. Peep Show. I get them all mixed up. It's late. Yeah. Oh, no. No, because it's Peep Show, it's here because we really think that you guys would like it, and something that is like very cool for us. So.
We trust this game, and
oh yeah.
A lot of times, I think one big cool thing about Peep Show is that if you trust our opinions, then you can safely assume that the games in Peep Show are not going to turn out like Earth 2066 or Towns or something like that.
And considering that we all have very different play styles in games, the fact that we're all getting behind something means you should as well.
Yeah. So. Anyway, I think that
it's time.
It's time for a little segment called Free Fun. And this week on Free Fun, we have a game, like Tech said in the beginning of the episode, that really looks like it should not be free. I'd pay money for it. I'd pay. I don't know. I'd say $10 or something like that. Just based on, if you got to say it is a free game, so the amount of content available is probably not as much as you would get for someone who has full funding. But the way it looks, the artistic style, it's 3D, the game mechanics, everything like that. I think it has a shot at being sold on something like Steam. This
I
game
haven't said its name yet.
Yeah, I'm getting there, Tech.
Okay.
I'm gonna smack your beard off your face. This game is called Path of Shadows, and you can find it on GameJolt.com. Path of Shadows is a third-person stealth game where you control a reborn assassin capable of manipulating the shadows. So that's one really cool game mechanic, is that you can create shadows in different areas and blink, quote, where you can basically teleport from your current spot to the shadow that you create. Excuse me. And really, it's got a lot of inspiration from other stealth games like Tenchu, Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, things like Dishonored and Mark of the Ninja. And then the art style, they said, is actually inspired by Okami, Journey, which we talked about earlier, and Sly Cooper, which I know a lot of people, there's a big cult following for that. And it's really cool. It's actually a student project, which I think is why it's free, because can they sell their games while they're in school? I don't think so.
I think they can't, but it depends on the school, and and I think it depends on if it's for a specific project. Like if they're like, oh, build us an environment, and you go out and then like you couldn't do that. I don't think, but.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why it's free, because otherwise I wouldn't see why they wouldn't have it sold. And they don't even have a really developer, like a studio name or anything or like that. They just call themselves Path of the Shadows Team. So it's a group of students from a college that created this game, and I think that once they graduate, I think they have a fantastic future ahead of them if this is their their debut.
They've got 8 people. They're from Spain. 8 people in the team, and they go to the University of Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona.
Yeah, Spain.
Oh, so it's a foreign school. So I guess we don't know how their rules about making stuff.
Yeah,
is.
They might have something else going on there. But 8. The main group is only 5 people big. And then they had somebody who did the special effects for sound, somebody who designed the logo, and somebody who did the goddess's voice. And outside of that, that's what they are. So,
and I think I definitely see in the art style the Sly Cooper in it, because it's got that like what's that called? It's like the comic book. What
cell shading?
Yeah, cell shading type of feel. And I actually, the first thing I thought when I saw it was Mark of the Ninja, like when I started watching the gameplay of it. That's the first thing I thought. So I think go to GameJolt.com. And they actually, technically, I think GameJolt gives ad rev sharing.
You can also get it directly from their website, which is the Path of Shadow of Shadows.com.
Right. So definitely go check it out, and I think really that's one of the best free games that we've talked about so far.
It has a 4.8 rating on GameJolt.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's huge.
That's out of they have almost 15,000 plays, so that's 168 ratings. So I guess out of 15,000. But anyway, that's still 4.8 on GameJolt is really good. So go check it out. Any other questions about this game?
I actually just installed it, so I guess we'll be seeing if it's how long it is.
According to the dev team, if you run into problems running it with XSplit going, the game crashes and you're unable to record it. But if you open it in windowed mode, then you should be okay.
Right. For any of you Let's Players out there.
That's straight from the devs. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for being open and forthright with your information. Well, that is the end of this episode.
Yeah.
You guys excited for the end? Or are you just looking forward to the beginning?
Oh yeah,
of the next?
I can't wait until this episode is over. No, I've got stuff I have to play now, so.
I've got stuff I have to play, stuff I've got to do some research into, and I'm hoping to drag this episode out for like another 4 or 5 hours so that we don't, like, my spouses want to go to a club tonight. And
Oh no.
like, if I can just stay here and keep recording, then I'll never have to go. But
Right.
Here's what you tell them, okay? Here's what you tell them. Tell them that, hey, I don't do well with large groups of people. Because when I'm in large groups of people, the only thing that I can think of is that every single person in this room right now is an ejaculation. And that's a lot of semen.
Well,
that just ruined our PG-13 rating.
yeah. Congratulations, we're now on HBO. So
yeah. Hey, I mean that's like
well, now
all the normal parts of a game of Thrones.
Now we just got to show some boobies and we're good.
Yeah. All right, Josh, get him out.
Yeah. Time before this just completely unravels. Just so you all know, you can find us on YouTube, where this show is hosted, youtube.com/JaShinYa Gaming, or you can just search JaShinYa, which is JaShinya. Our Twitter account is at IGR Podcast. Same thing with Facebook. That's facebook.com/IGR Podcast. We have a subreddit that you can join into the discussions on the games or any of the topics we talk about, news, anything like that, or give us suggestions or just talk about the show in general. That's /r/Indie Game Riot. Our website for the time being is igrpodcast.webs.com. You can contact us on there. You can also get our episodes, that sort of stuff, or you can just contact us directly through email. It goes to my email, which is JaShinYaGaming@gmail.com. Now,
Did you talk about the website?
Yeah.
I did.
You don't pay attention
Wait
when other
I
talk.
zoned out for a second.
Well, you're fired and you're fired. So say goodbye, gentlemen.
Have a good one, guys.
I'll see you guys around.
See ya. Toodles.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that. I have like this weird sore on the bottom of my tongue, like way in the back. I have no idea how it got there, but
It's called herpes.
You've got the mouth herp.